Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's the 13th, so this should have been the third day of our trial. And I have some thoughts. As you can see, I've gotten ready for spring and shaved my beard off. A little premature because it's 10 below right now. I'm sitting at the picnic table, but it's sunny and I know it's going to be a nice day. I have some thoughts. I actually wrote them down. You get to the point where you just want to say the hell with everything and you want to just give up. You get to that point, and you probably have been there. And I've been to that point and back, and now I'm back. And every time I get there and come back, I come back a little bit stronger. I think it's like the principle of steel. You know, when you bend steel over and then you hammer it flat with a lot of heat, it's called Damascus steel. It gets resilient to the point where you can't break it. I'm there. And I want to tell you something. I am titling this, Is This Where It Ends? All right? Here's where we are right now. The Department of Natural Resources came out with a declaratory ruling, and I know we've said it's not law. However, they declare it. They have their own police force to enforce it. It comes down with the full force of the state. It is law for all intents and purposes. And this declaratory ruling said, if you have a pig with a straight tail or a pig with a curly tail, that's an illegal pig in the state of Michigan. And if you own that, you are a felon. And there was 9 other characteristics, and the 9th one was other characteristics not currently known. All right, so it was absolutely foolish. Everybody knew it, from my senator all the way down to the guy that picks up the trash in front of my house. Everybody knew it was foolish. The only people that think that it's a good thing is the people at the DNR and the people that work for the Attorney General's office. And I'm sure the governor's staff thinks it's a pretty good idea too, because they're paid to think it's a good idea. All right? We fought them for 2.5 years. It's cost my family everything we have and everything that we will have for the rest of my life. It's cost that much to fight this. I thought it was important to do this because I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. The declaratory ruling is definitely not constitutional because it takes my property without the due process of law. Okay? So we fight them for 2.5 years. We're within 10 days of getting into a court of law where they're going to be forced to explain straight tails, curly tails, and other characteristics not currently known, and the foolishness. And then we get to see all the faces. We get to see all the corporate interests that are involved in this, and people like Governor Snyder, Attorney General Bill Schuette, the governor's staff, Dan Wyatt, they all have to, the light of day is going to hit them, and you're all going to see this. And what do? They drop the charges against me. Therefore, there's no conflict. The judge dismisses the case. I've got legal pigs now, which I didn't have before, so I guess I should be happy. And I don't have a $700,000 fine against me, and my children won't be arrested. But the reality is I can rebuild this business until the next thing comes down. And these people, they're just people. I'm not going to say the state anymore. They have a roadmap how to defeat guys like me. Okay, now let me tell you something. I got this stuff written down. I took an oath. And my oath was to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. If the Attorney General violates my constitutional rights, he is an enemy of the Constitution. Is there any problem with that? All right. This is a guy that was elected. All right. He's up for re-election again. There is no doubt that he should not be re-elected, but I think that he should be taken out of office right now. That's my personal feeling. Okay? I want to talk to you about the Constitution. The Constitution is something that I think all of you should get smart about. Here's my pocket Constitution. I keep it right in my pocket. It's well worn. My Bill of Rights, there's 10 of them. All right? You should know what they are. Right? Whose Bill of Rights is it? It's mine. Who am I? I'm you. I am you, all right? The Constitution is mine, and it is yours. and it's being violated by them. All right? Governor Snyder, making believe he doesn't know anything about this. Believe me, he does. Attorney General Bill Schuette, supposed to be the top cop in the state of Michigan. Look what he's doing, all right? Evading, bobbing, and weaving. Sleazy. All right? You all saw the Harry Martin show. That's a, you know, a leader is only good as the weakest link in his organization, all right? And I don't think Harry's even the weakest link in that organization, all right? He was not disciplined at all for his actions to the people of the state of Michigan or me and my family. Not a bit, all right? Okay. There's going to be a call to action at the end of this, so bear with me. Please bear with me. I want to tell you that my farm and my family is your farm and your family. Because the people that are listening to this that are going to need to take action, you are me, and I am you. I have done things that you haven't done, but you can do things that I haven't done. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you what needs to happen, actually. Okay, you don't underestimate the influence that you have. You call down to Lansing, you call the governor's office, you call the Attorney General, you call the DNR. You ring those phones off the hook. Don't underestimate. They have people on the phone that take those calls, and they'll make you think that, you know, it doesn't do any good. When you lock up the lines to Lansing, and you do it for 2 months straight, 3 months straight, things are going to change. And you've done that already. And, you know, this is the way the story is right now. But I'm asking you, is this the way you want it to end? So don't underestimate the influence that you have. All right, the movie is coming out, and it's going to be the quality that it can be shown on HBO and, you know, National Geographic and stuff like that. It's going to be a very good quality film, and we know how to do that. We have a guy that has gotten really smart about that, and we're doing pretty good with the fundraising for that. This movie is going to be a documentary to show what has happened and what the end of the story is, all right? The end of the story hasn't been written yet, and that's the point of this. This has been a dark period for the state of Michigan, surely has, because we're going to determine by the end of this story who's in charge, all right, and how they are going to govern or rule, all right? A friend of mine called me the other day, and she said, and I do consider her a friend, and she was talking to me, and she said, you know, my dad always said, you can't fight City Hall. Well, who puts that statement out there? City Hall puts that statement out there. You can fight City Hall. Your outcome might not be good because you might not have the tenacity to follow through on it. And City Hall uses your money to put together their organization continually so that when you fight them, you lose, right? But you can fight City Hall. The way this has ended up right now, even though we can chalk this up as a victory, maybe for us being able to raise, you know, the state's only legal pigs, it really is a loss because the declaratory ruling is still in place. Governor Snyder has just ignored this, totally ignored this, and the people of Michigan are at the hands of the people who did this. Bill Schuette, the Attorney General's office, the Department of Natural Resources, Department of Environmental Quality. They have you right now. You got to realize that. They have you. All right? Okay. A friend of mine sent me a picture the other day, and it was a picture of a group of sheep, and they were chasing a herding dog. And the caption said, you know, sooner or later the sheep realize that there's more of them than there is of the herding dog, and they chase it. And I'm going to ask you something. A lot of you people are not farm people. Most of you aren't. But that's okay. But I'm going to tell you something. You cannot take on a sheep. We have some here, and you cannot take them on. An adult sheep, you have to really be smart to get them down on the ground to shear them. You have to really be smart about it. So and I have a good friend that was knocked into tomorrow by a sheep. They're tough animals, and if you have a flock of them, they're extremely tough, extremely. So view that picture in your mind, and I believe that's what has to happen at this point. I don't think we're to the point where we have to physically head down to Lansing with our pitchforks, but I believe that needs to be on the table. You know, we do have rights as American citizens. But why don't we head down to Lansing virtually via email and telephone and snail mail? Lock their lines up and do it for the next 3 months. There's a lot of you that have the ability to do that. Please do it. What I am hoping to do here is to unleash you, all right? And I'm hoping that you will see that this is not a good way for the story to end. Harry Martin and Bill Schuette, they're having a good laugh over this down in Lansing. Like, look what we did. You know, here's a farm family. We pulled them through a knothole, screwed them over. They're broke for the rest of their lives. Let's see who the next farmer is that stands up to us. Well, it's time to stand up, people. It is time to stand up, because if you don't, you know what is coming. You know what's coming. What happened to me will happen to every one of you. Right now is the time for everyone to stand up and say, we are not going to take this anymore. Okay, that's my message this morning. It's just where it is. And thanks a lot for listening to me all this time. This is Mark from Baker's Green Acres.